students, today what we're going to do is go over the expectations for the analysis essay planner. So in order to understand the planner, you need to understand what we're doing for the analysis essay. The analysis essay essentially is an essay that is going to be done in two parts. We'll talk about that second part another time. But for right now, what I want you to concentrate on is the goal of analysis writing. So essentially in analysis writing, you are identifying the components that the author used to make the argument. So in other words, instead of responding and saying, I agree with this or I like that, this time what we're doing is we are looking at specific concepts and seeing how the author put the argument together. So essentially, what are the building blocks and what are the techniques that the author used in order to make sure that he was able to get his point across? What you're going to notice is we are going to make sure that in our planner, we're going to be looking at all of these questions to make sure that we're really understanding all the techniques that the author used. All of these questions will be eventually in your analysis essay. If you look at the questions here, numbers 1 through 6, and then you go back and you go into week 3, what you're going to notice is that literally every single thing that we are doing in the week 3 module, everything, literary devices, connotation, denotation, tone, credibility, worldview, and evidence will all be in this essay. So it's important to make sure that if you notice I have all my tabs up here open and ready to go, that you're going through each of those modules and that you're understanding the concepts as you go. In analysis writing, you are going to essentially be starting with an introduction, creating a summary, and then analyzing the techniques the author used. When we look at each of these, this is where we are headed with our analysis essay. So again, we're looking at how the author built his argument. All right. So now that we know that what the essay is all about, and I would suggest going into the sample essays to look at the actual analysis essay itself, to see the goal of our essay, to see where we're headed with it. You can actually find the sample. One of the samples is here, and then the sample that we will be using is under content. And then under our sample assignments and essays, go ahead and take a look at the sample analysis essay itself so that you're able to see kind of where we're headed, right? So what the goal is, what is the direction we're heading in. So I'm sorry, my computer has decided not to cooperate with me quickly today. The sample analysis essay is here for you. And you'll be able to see after we see this, how this action changes is based on our sample essay. Sorry, I see one thing that's messed up, and that's what I was looking at. Now, there we go. All right. So this is our final. You'll be able to see from the sample analysis planner how the two kind of go along. All right. So then now let's take a look at the analysis essay planner assignment. Okay, so in this class, remember, everything that we do is a building block for the next assignment. So you will be using our second reading, the reading about the CDC, in order to complete this assignment, all right? What this is going to do is I want you to make sure that you are reading and annotating reading 2 really, really well, okay? As you know, you're going to be using this for a summary assignment, right? That's part of the analysis essay. And then secondly, you are going to be using it in order to plan your essay. So really read and annotate it well. My suggestion would be to annotate it first to find the main ideas for your summary so you're able to understand it and comprehend it well. And then secondly, go back for each of the things that you're looking for. So go back for language, literary devices, connotation, tone. Go back for credibility and look for worldview. Go back and annotate again for evidence. That's going to be the best bet. If you front load your work and you really start to look for things that way, you're going to hit this out of the park. Go ahead and save the analysis planner and take a look at the sample analysis. Again, these are Google Docs, so you can make a copy of your planner, okay? And it's set up just like this. What I would recommend is to make sure that you have each of your pages open so that you know exactly what I'm looking for here. You may have done literary devices in high school, and that's great, but we are only looking at these 4 different kinds. In the literary devices area, for example, it shows you how to look at the different things and how to discuss them. So when we look at alliteration, simile, metaphor, and hyperbole, okay, these are the 4 that we'll be using, but in each of these areas, you have a what is it, and then how to find it in each of these areas. So my recommendation would be to look in the article for each of these, use the page as your guide, and then fill in the planner. Okay, so what are we looking for here? In the first part, you're going to be looking for 3 different things in language. First, literary devices. You need 2 examples of your literary devices. If you find 2 metaphors, that's fine. All I want are 2 examples. They don't have to be a metaphor and alliteration, a simile and hyperbole. It can be 2 of one. I just want to see both. I want you to then write the example directly from the text and then use the APA citation. Let's take a look at it in the sample. So here I filled in from the Skin Easy article that we've been using for our samples. I filled in what I saw from alliteration, one thing from hyperbole. As you go down, then I want you to think about it, okay? Remember, this whole essay is about discovering the information and then writing about it. So here, what you're going to do is answer and explain, okay? What was the effect of the literary device on the reader's understanding or interpretation? So in other words, why did the author use wide world of work? What is it drawing attention to? What is it doing for you? Why did you choose that? What is the metaphor comparing? What is the simile comparing? And how does it affect the reader? As you move down to connotation, denotation, and tone, we split up connotation and denotation, and then we talk about tone. Again, I'm looking for 2 different examples of connotation from the text. And then I want you to tell me what you picture in your mind when you see that. Like, honestly, when I see something like this and I use the word clueless, I actually think about the movie Clueless and I picture Alicia Silverstone. And she's kind of biting her lip and goes through the whole movie kind of in the clouds, and she literally bites her lip the whole time. I want you to decide what other words they could have used, and if the word that they used was negative, what is the denotation of the word? And then explain how did this emotion that surrounds this information here, okay, so that surrounds this word, how does it help the author show the information about the text, okay? So if people are clueless, what is it that they're clueless about? What is the topic? How does that show the author's attitude, okay? So that's what I want you to think about. When they're using these different words, what are the words referring to? How does that help the writer explain to the reader how to feel about this topic? As we move forward, that's when we go on and on, all right? So what is the author's tone? In here, you have all of these examples of tone, and then you have 155 different ways that you can describe tone. So choose one that really describes the author's tone in the area, or in the article, excuse me. As you move through tone, actually you have a really great way to show the different steps, and it shows you how to look in a text to find the tone of an article. So please make sure that you use that to then again answer the question that is posed to you at the end. All right, so you're going to be telling me, how does this example reflect that tone? Okay. Moving forward for credibility, I really want you to Google around, all right? So find different things. Go to the actual source itself. Look at the About Us page. Here's the thing, do not guess. In our course, if you go to reading number 2, so right here, what are my course readings? You're going to notice a couple of different things. In reading number 2, you have the direct link, right here for you. All right, so you can go right into the article itself. And when it says to click around the article, then that's what I want you to do. Go to the About page, the Contact page, look for different information, look at the actual, go to the home page of your source, okay? And go around and make sure that you just follow the directions, okay? Look at the different text, look at the different articles. Everything should be there right for you to be able to answer the question. I really want you looking through. Next, I want you to actually look for the author, okay? What you're going to find is you are going to find lots of things about our author, lots. He's got an X page, he's got TikTok, Instagram, there are podcasts out there. Lots of other things that he's written, lots of different interviews that he's given. So I really want you to look for our author and then go through and find as much information as possible, and then go ahead and make sure that you link up the information. Then take a look at the information that you found. What do you think the author's worldview is? Okay, so take a look at what worldview is here in author credibility and how to find it. Then I want you to answer in one word or 2 words, what does the author value? Okay, what is important to this author? So as you move through worldview, make sure that you're looking through this information, okay? And then take a look at the worldview site. Take a look at the worldview values worksheet that I'll be providing in your discussion board, and then use something from that worldview worksheet to help you answer that question in 1 or 2 words. Remember, we're looking for what the author values. Finally, I want you to find 3 pieces of evidence. You may be finding that the author uses the same type of evidence over and over again, and that's okay. But use the evidence information here in our evidence module. Take a look and look for the different kinds of evidence. Make sure that you're really annotating for evidence, finding scientific evidence, finding testimonials and anecdotes. What is some of the information? What are the types of evidence that the author used in order to build his argument? Okay. When you go through and find that information, again, if you find 3 different kinds, that's great. If you find 2 different kinds, that's great too. I'm looking for 3. All right. I want you to tell me then, and this is where your annotation comes in, which of the arguments the author actually supports. So think about your annotations when you're looking to do your summary and to be looking for the main ideas of this article. Make sure that you are looking at the kind of evidence that the author uses and then what kind it supports. Once you've completed that, go ahead and turn in your planner, okay? You can go ahead and download it into a Word document and then upload it into our course. If you have any questions, please make sure that you let me know. I'll be around. I know I don't sound great, but my brain is there, even though my voice is not. So happy writing, everybody. Remember, the more effort you put into this planner, the better off you are. Another helpful hint is to use the discussion board that you did on your snow day and the feedback from there to be able to see where you might need to change up your approach to some of these techniques. Okay? All right, guys, make sure you listen to this on double speed, and I will see you in class